Mabandla kaMjuba nakandaba, Sizwe sikaMthaniya, Commander-in-Chief Julius Sello Malema, all the officials, commissars, selfless activists of the EFF, and all the progressive forces who stood up and spoke out when President Malema was once again under attack by Western imperialists who are provoked by our resolve to attain economic freedom in our lifetime. Revolutionary greetings. President Cyril Ramaphosa will respond to you on behalf of thousands and thousands of young men and women who recently completed their matric but are faced with the tormenting reality that their lives, like those before them, will amount to nothingness because their bachelor's degrees passes did not guarantee them a table in university. Your presidency does nothing for us, Mr. President. It doesn't protect us, nor does it give us justice. These black women and majority of black people in this country had their land stripped away from them by white supremacists. Petrol attendants, widows and orphans of Marikana, millions of unemployed youth who are bed rotting and giving in to depression, grandmothers who are abused by their nyaupe and crystal addicted grandsons and daughters, teachers who are threatened daily at their places of work by children who are victims of dysfunctional communities, business people who have to pay thugs protection fees or risk being killed, farm workers in Gurifir in the Eastern Cape who are paid a carton of milk and a box of cigarettes after a week's worth of labor, the colored Danis in the Cape Flats who pray at night while we sleep, hoping to end the violence with spiritual intervention and waiting for Godot because the government has failed to protect them, and the black people in this country who are dispossessed of their land. We agree with you that you must not be bullied. The reality is that, Mr. President, you are being bullied. If you were not being bullied, you would have supported the amendment of Section 25 of our Constitution that was to see the justified expropriation of land without compensation. If you were not being bullied, the South African government would pass legislation that all the food bought by government for public facilities should be sourced from small-scale farmers and food producers. We will always need cleaners, Mr. President, truck drivers, security guards, surveyors, healthcare workers and engineers. There is no tangible reason to subject our nation to the mercy of the private sector through tenders for basic functions of the state. Build the capacity of the state you are in charge of. Do the actual work. Don't just talk about industrialization. Do it. We export almost everything in this country, and your government oversees the compromise of industries we used to dominate. When we were once a nation that boasted dominance in the textile industry, it is because you are bullied. Introduce vocational education in earlier grades. Decolonize the education curriculum. We want you to be exhausted of creating matriculants who have zero skills to show after 12 years of being in the education system. You have been president for 7 years now. May this be the very last State of the Nation address where you hide the shame of your incompetency behind a vision board that never comes to fruition. You chose the people who don't have a history of ever choosing your own people because you are bullied. And so long as that is the hill that you are willing to build your legacy on, despite your collaboration with Pravin Gordhan, Jacob Zuma, and the establishment to silence the generation of President Julius Malema, we continue to rally behind the radical call for expropriation of land of South Africans without compensation for equal redistribution and use, nationalization of mines, banks, and other strategic sectors of the economy without compensation, including the introduction of minimum wages in order to close the wage gap between the rich and the poor, close the apartheid wage gap, and promote rapid career paths for Africans in the workplace, massive development of the African economy, and advocating for a move from reconciliation to justice in the entire continent. We continue to call for economic freedom in our lifetime, economic freedom in our lifetime, economic freedom in our lifetime, economic freedom in our lifetime.
The progressive is in tatters.
The next member to the podium will be the Honourable Minister of Higher Education.